Hello, my name is Madeline Noland, and I'm the president of ATSC. And on behalf of myself and the entire ATSC team, I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year and thank you for tuning in to this virtual tour of ATSC at CES 2022. It was full steam ahead for NextGen TV in 2021, and we're pleased to be here at CES to showcase some of the highlights in partnership with many of our major sponsors, including Guyan Solutions, LG Electronics, Pearl TV, Samsung, Sinclair Broadcast Group, and Sony. For those that are in Las Vegas, we invite you to visit the ATSC booth in the Grand Lobby, where you'll see 3 informative displays showcasing the best of NextGen TV, including some exciting new products that are now on the market for NextGen TV consumers. It's also our pleasure to welcome our Thursday afternoon coffee sponsor, Cinemedia, and our Thursday evening cocktail sponsor, Crown Castle. If you're taking in the show from afar, we are here to bring the show to you via social media updates on Twitter and LinkedIn, the debut of our YouTube channel, and more. Make sure you follow us on these platforms to see what's happening at our booth and all around the CES show floor. To help give you the CES experience, I'm joined here by Ann Shelley of Pearl TV, Chandra Kotaru of Guyan Solutions, and Mark Aitken of Sinclair Broadcast Group, who will share with you their view of the highlights from 2021 and the future to come in 2022, as well as give you an update of what's on display here at the ATSC booth. While this video is pre-recorded, I'm here now to chat with you live. Place your questions and thoughts in the chat box, and I'll be responding during the presentation. To start us off, I'd like to bring in Chandra Kotaru, founder and CEO of Guyan Solutions. Chandra, all the commercial launches of NextGen TV across the US are front and center here at CES. In addition to these launches, what else did you see taking place in 2021?
From Guyan's perspective, we always betted heavy on the future of NextGen TV from the last 3+ years. So for us, the pandemic was a period to double down on R&D and really focus on building some major capabilities for the whole industry, which we think were important on-ramps for scaled execution of NextGen TV. For us, 2021 was about the fact that NextGen TV is happening. There are trials everywhere. There are all kinds of interesting outside-in approaches of bringing in outside industry partners into various trials. So we always felt that one trial, 10 trials, trials are trials. So 2021 was great for trials, right? It was great for traction in terms of launching stations. But ultimately, you want to kind of differentiate the product offering of NextGen TV. And we were all about building the tools of why would a consumer at home find NextGen TV so appealing? Why would it be a experience beyond, say, a cable company or a satellite company or even a IPTV OTT company? So that were the tools we were focusing on. So we participated in enough trials. Michigan State University was one of them for us. And we then went on to build a lot of capability in terms of R&D. That's been our progress with 2021.
Are you showing some of those types of innovations here in the booth?
Yeah, absolutely. So we hopefully are launching a receiver stack, a receiver set, a hardware plus software in terms of a NextGen TV receiver that I would call it really a money-making machine in terms of every possible facet of how NextGen TV can bring new revenues to existing broadcasters, existing content operators via existing services, as well as true NextGen services like in a vehicle, music streaming, HD radio, IoT. So receiver stack is fundamental. The edge of the network has to be smart. And NextGen TV, the edge of the network is a receiver. And the receiver is not a TV set, in my humble opinion. It's more than just a TV set. It could be an IoT device. It could be a set-top box form factor. It could be embedded inside a car dashboard. So all of these require a software stack that makes NextGen TV truly what it can be. So we have been working a lot on that. That will be one of our first demonstrations at the CES booth. The second thing will be, hey, NextGen TV is going to be about collaborations between broadcasters, between DMAs across larger regions. So we are planning to show a marketplace where each broadcaster and each ecosystem partner of NextGen TV can work with each other and collaborate in an open marketplace. So we'll be presenting a marketplace. And the third thing we are presenting at CES is hey, we can either build a few apps here and there, or we can build thousands and thousands of apps. And if you want to do that, if you want every broadcaster to be able to build apps of various sizes and shapes, then you need tools. It cannot be like everybody cannot afford to have high-end development team, JavaScript development team, and so on. So we need tools. So we have been trying to work on a tool which allows making app development very easy to do. So we built an app generator tool. It's a codeless app development platform, and we'll be demonstrating that as well.
What do you see as the primary goals in 2022? What do you think is going to unfold in the coming year, both for the industry as well as for Guyan Solutions?
Well, I think the ability to talk about the next-gen TV as a platform or as a network, as a nationwide network, wherein the capability of using this network for traditional content TV services or for next-gen type of services becomes a lot more real with the outside-in approach. Essentially, it cannot be the next-gen TV or the ATSC ecosystem itself talking about and flouting the capabilities of next-gen TV, right? You want the automotive guys to be doing more than trials. You want various type of activities happening with the various government bodies, smart cities, IoT manufacturers. So I think 2022 will be a breakout year in that sense. I think we'll start seeing a lot more maturing of the offering. I think the capabilities of proving out trials has already been done and dusted, and we have made great progress there. I think one will start putting a value to the bit. One will start putting a value to the network, and one will start saying, this is what my bits are worth, this is what my network is worth, this is what will cost you to have this service. And I think things are going to get very real that way. So that's what I hope will happen in next-gen TV, both in terms of TV sets, advertising models, as well as these additional next-gen TV type services. I think the one thing that we have always been about, and I would like to take every opportunity I get to speak about, is next-gen TV is about forming a alliance between broadcasters, between content operators, between advertisers. And the more and more tools that are available to allow that alliances to form and that national perspective to emerge, that national capability to emerge, that's a great thing. So I think it's very important that we shake hands, join hands, and work together. And thank you, Madeline and ATSC as a body doing its bit in making that happen. It has been great working with you guys. So that's my last words.
Mark Aitken from Sinclair Broadcast Group is one of our platinum sponsors and is participating in the ATSC booth here in the Grand Lobby this year. And Mark, I wonder if you could just reflect for a few minutes on 2021. It was a pretty interesting year for sure.
Oh no, it was a great year. Actually, I'd have to double check, but this last year, I think we rolled out in conjunction with our joint venture partner, BitPath. And folks who don't know, BitPath is a joint venture between Sinclair and Nexstar. And I think that this last year that we rolled out some 22 or 23 markets, and it actually may be a few more because there were a few independent rollouts inside of Nexstar that took place coordinated by BitPath. But we've been averaging a couple 3.0 conversions a month, and a great deal of that is not only reflective of our commitment to 3.0, but the engagement of a broader and broader community of broadcasters who I can tell you that there aren't a lot of markets where a clean conversion of 3.0 can happen without the participation of multiple broadcasters. So I think it's really the coming together of the broadcast industry as a whole across many different groups, very diversified array of interest for engagement, and so it has been a community effort that by itself is exciting. It means that people see the long-term objective of what we have made sort of the first priority of this, which is when do we get to shut off ATSC 1? And when do we, as a full industry, engage in all of the opportunities that 3.0 has to offer?
Well, interesting. Speaking about ATSC 1.0, we think to ourselves, in order to get to the opportunity to turn off ATSC 1.0, we have to make sure that consumers are all well taken care of with devices that works for ATSC 3.0 and works for them and their budgets. Talk a little bit about CES 2022 and how you see that as sort of heralding in some of these new products that consumers can use.
Oh, well, I mean, we're engaged with over a dozen different manufacturers, and I say that in addition to our direct involvement with Saankhya Labs, we're a co-investor in building chips and building other wireless related platform products, and I expect that what people are going to see at this show is the introduction from several new players in the area of over-the-air broadcast television. That'll take the form both in terms of integrated television sets, which will support both ATSC 1 as well as ATSC 3.0, but also a whole variety of other new types of devices that are coming to fruition. We've talked for a long time about the notion of home-based network gateways, which receive ATSC 3, receive ATSC 1, and then distribute that content across home networks or directly through Wi-Fi access points. And what we're seeing is those products are coming to market. And so we've been working very closely with three of them that we expect will make the debut of their products at CES this year. And so I think that the interesting side of that is it's not just about that big screen television, which is important for high quality content, where we have personally been focusing on 1080p SL HDR1 transported HDR10. That's a mouthful, but what that means is that TV sets that are supporting an array of ATSC standards under the umbrella of 3.0, which you of all people know is a compendium of many standards. But it means that we're bringing high quality content to those big screen TVs, but we're also seeing a engaged community of consumer electronics providers that are seeing laptops, notebooks, iPads, and cell phones, and every other kind of Wi-Fi connected device being in a position to be the center of consumption of content that we fling out, if you will, across multiple IP platforms, because it's not just about the broadcast component of 3.0 that's important, but it's the way that other IP platforms are being woven together with that broadcast content to provide enhanced viewing opportunities, providing for interactivity. For us, we've got a focus in this coming year of new product introductions that centered around sports and centered around gambling and those kinds of opportunities. Part of the excitement there is next year, the conversations that are going on within the industry around core technologies, core interworking capabilities of the standard across multiple platforms, whether it's a 5G, 3GPP, supported technology, or whether it's IEEE Wi-Fi based technologies, or ETSI/DVB satellite based technologies. All of these are coming together and providing opportunities for consumers to have a totally new experience, not just great pictures and enveloping sound fields, et cetera, but in fact, across all those platforms, weaving those together in new ways.
Wow, that's pretty exciting, and I think that's it. Kind of starts to get into one of my last questions, which is, looking forward to 2022. I think you talked a lot about some of the R&D that might be going on with ATSC 3.0 and some of the new verticals that might be developed. And I have to say, very impressive that you would have practically 2 markets launching a month during 2021. That's amazing. Do you think that clip is going to maintain, or how do you see the launches and the outlook for 2022 going?
Well, yeah, I mean, for 2022, we've got that average will certainly keep up, and we're seeing other opportunities in developing relationships with different verticals, if you will, within our own broadcast industry. You see, many companies taking extreme efforts to be engaged. ARC is an example of that in the low power community, where working with larger broadcasters, with the support of some of the industries that are well engaged with the 3GPP community, those things coming together. I've often said, and we've always been an advocate for the low power community. We've got hundreds of LP licenses that support the viewing and consumption of entertainment and information product across tens of millions of viewers. So the idea of broadcast as the bricks and low power as the mortar of an integrated broadcast industry. I think it'll be exciting to see what 2022 brings for those other community of broadcasters. But yeah, our clip is not going to slow down any, and we really hope that as we enter mid 2022 with other activities that the industry has long discussed are going to come into fruition, such as moving diginets to AVC, MPEG-4. Why? To provide high quality diginet content at reduced consumption of spectrum resources, allowing the transitioning of additional stations inside of markets to 3.0. Because again, for us, the exciting opportunity is not just lighting up an ATSC3 station. The real opportunity is creating an excess of 3.0 capacity for data services, where we see just a huge drive on the part of automotive, on the part of IoT providers and others who are reaching out to us, reaching out through ATSC and through other industry efforts to say, let's have a conversation. We see a role for broadcast. How can we work with you? And those really are the exciting conversations that will continue through 22, 23, and beyond.
Well, you already just gave us a new prediction for 2023, and we'll see everybody in a year, right? And see how we've done in 2022. Mark, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for joining us in the booth, the ATSC booth in the Grand Lobby, booth number 13. And we were really, really proud to showcase some of the work that you've been doing, along with some of the others in our booth there. And looking forward to seeing you again in person soon, we hope. Thank you so much.
We'll look at it. Just in closing, I mean, recently you had the launch in our nation's capital of the WHUT project. We had earlier launched and have been highlighting WIAV, which is a station that we own in that market. So Washington, D.C., in fact, has 2 ATSC3 resources online, up and operating. And that's important for being able to point industry leaders towards seeing and sort of hands-on involvement with those opportunities.
So Anne, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about your take on 2021. It was a difficult year, but a lot got done. And I'm curious what you think were the highlights of 2021 from your perspective.
2021 was a successful year despite the pandemic for broadcasters, and that we have over 40 markets on air. We actually added a few just a few days ago, this being late December here while we're recording this. But so we've got over close to 45% of the U.S. households covered by next generation television services. Really proud of bringing up Washington, D.C. this past week in December, and LA, and looking forward to a lot more markets in 2022. And, we did this all in a very short order of time, broadcasters collaborating together to share spectrum to bring on these new services. The other thing I think that was remarkable about 2021 was the number of sets that were sold. CTA came out with a projection, I believe, last CES of 800,000 sets. And we have sold, and I think they're going to talk about this at CES, is over 3 million sets. And we saw that coming. We've been projecting that for a while now. Excited about that. One of the things I think that was really interesting in terms of the TVs that were sold is that Sony incorporated next gen technology in their entire set lineup. And that was their bet on next gen. And we are super enthusiastic about what Sony's doing there. Also Samsung and LG with their sets. So those are selling well. The other thing I'm excited about is that we're hearing from consumers. They're seeing the markets light up. We have a big brand campaign to support the Next Gen TV logo, so consumers know what it is, where to buy it, how to look for it, and how to find it on a television set that has it incorporated in it. So that brand campaign was actually tested with consumers in 2021, coming out of the 2020 holiday season. And 1 out of 4 saw the ad. So broadcasters using their on-air promote to talk about Next Gen is a big thing. And we tested in 6 markets. Consumers came back, over 60% said they would go buy a Next Gen TV. And the things that resonated with consumers was its upgradability. So they're really seeing this as similar to 3G to 4G to 5G. It's our evolution, and they expect better services from their technologies today, and that's what we're delivering. So that really resonated with consumers. The other was obviously always enhanced video, and we are bringing that in improvements in video, and it's just going to continue to get better over time as we layer in 4K services. And then the thing that we really focused on this year with a brand new ad campaign, and kudos to Dolby, is the audio. So only available on Next Gen is a Dolby AC4 audio system, bringing consistent loudness and voice enhancement or voice dialogue boost to consumers. And so, and in all of our consumer testing, that resonated well. We have a brand new ad campaign that's been running since this fall. Consumers already providing feedback on that, audio being something that consumers care about on their television sets. So that's another component. And lastly, interactive. We're launching interactive applications and services on these TVs. That's enhancing our local news, weather, and information, as well as favorite programming, bringing emergency alerts that are enhanced to consumers. And so we're finding consumers are actually clicking. They are engaging with, we have about 15 markets on air today running these applications. And, it's really doing some cool things we hadn't even thought about. For example, in Tallahassee, Florida, Gray Television is able to deliver they cover Valdosta, Georgia, and Thomasville, Georgia with their services. but it's Tallahassee, Florida, right? Those are different markets, different high school sports teams, different issues, different local considerations for consumers there. They're able in a hybrid application to deliver all that news in one place, and consumers can choose and personalize where they want to get their news. So these are the kinds of things that broadcasters are going to continue to roll out in 2022. And the things that we're excited about that happened this past year.
And looking at CES 2022, we're very, very excited about the show. And I'm wondering, how are you going about sort of highlighting what's happened in 2021 and looking forward to 22? What is Pearl doing actually with CES?
Well, we're doing a lot at CES. We're excited about CES. It's an important show for us to continue to showcase NextGen TV services, our next evolution in broadcasting to manufacturers, so TV manufacturers and other receiver manufacturers, as well as sort of a broader message to consumers. And so we are, and as well as retailers, and they're a really important component. We've been working with retailers throughout this holiday season, educating them on NextGen, because as we're talking about it on our airwaves, promoting this next evolution of broadcast services, consumers are walking in retailers' doors, and we have a close relationship. We're local retailers are important to us. We're looking forward to consumers, getting back to stores, living their lives, being able to walk in and touch and feel products and be able to talk to them with a representative from that retailer. So we've been doing a lot of retail education. This show is a lot of that, as well as talking to retailers about what is NextGen and why does a consumer want to buy a NextGen TV set. So we'll be showcasing the TVs at the ATSC booth in the Grand Lobby. We're excited to do that. We'll be showcasing the video quality, the audio quality, and the interactive application. And I'll talk about that in a second. But we're also going to be unveiling a new manufacturer, and that is Hisense. And we've been working with them. We're so excited that they're investing in NextGen, and so they'll be there alongside the other three manufacturers. We'll look forward to doing more with them and other companies. And the other development is, to really get into the low volume TV sets, you need a player like MediaTek. And MediaTek produces a full solution, and they will be unveiling that full solution for NextGen TV. So we're excited about that. And so that means a lot for smaller manufacturers that might be making accessory devices. That's something we'll be showcasing, a company called Zinwell in our booth. And the other piece of this is a free over-the-air service, and we'll be bringing it to cable, but we're going to be talking at the booth about OTA, free over-the-air broadcast television services. As more consumers, specifically what we think of as the cord nevers, are thinking about their service bundles, this is a great option for them. And so we'll be talking about some new antennas that are coming out on the marketplace to meet those types of consumers. That's my college-age daughter and my graduate school daughter. They're the perfect target for this. So we're really going to be focused on that consumer message, that TV manufacturer message, receiver message, as well as the consumer message. And then lastly, we're going to be showcasing what we call the TV web platform for next generation television. It's called Run3TV. It's built by broadcasters for broadcasters in partnership with manufacturers. And what this does is it allows broadcasters to easily develop applications that work across all of these devices without having to do their own testing, their own integration. It makes it easier for manufacturers as well, because they can be guaranteed that this is a secure application that's running on their TV set. So we'll be showing that off and showing how broadcasters can easily configure applications, how they can deploy them, be confident that they work, how they can use their entire back-end systems, how it can enable monetization for broadcasters, whether that's advanced advertising, lead generation, more channels, and interactivity. Think about things like sports stats, recipes on cooking shows. Broadcasters do a lot of lifestyle programming in local markets. They can really bring that alive with Next Generation Television. So those are things we'll be showcasing at the ATSC booth.
Great. And I think there's a mechanism for finding all sorts of stuff across the CES show. And that's something that you've also been working on with respect to how can people find what's going on at CES for Next Gen TV. Obviously, the ATSC booth is something that's going to be a hub, and we're very, very proud of it. But we know there's other things going on the show floor as well.
Yeah, so thanks for mentioning that, Madeline. We have developed our own sort of meta guide for Next Generation Television. So if you're at the show, not at the show, if you don't have time to see everything, it's a great map guide that you can experience the show virtually. So you can go in and you can see these models in television sets. You can see what each of the manufacturers are showcasing. You can tour the ATSC booth. You can learn about what's there. And we're making it really easy for retailers, other manufacturers, broadcasters, and anybody interested in Next Generation Television to learn more in a fun, interactive guide. So it'll be easy to find. We'll be distributing a QR code for this. It sends you to a site that you can learn with us about Next Gen and then ask more questions.
Well, thank you so much, Anne. Thank you for providing us with your thoughts about 2021 and what you're anticipating for 2022, as well as all of the great stuff that is available at CES 2022. And we're very much looking forward to having not only see everybody there at the show, but for those that cannot go to the show, we're super excited about the virtual map that is going to be provided for everybody. So thank you again. And I'm looking forward to 2022. It's going to be great.
Yeah, me too. And thanks, Madeline. And thank you for all that ATSC does.
Thank you, Chandra, Mark, and Anne, for sharing your insights with us, and to all of you for tuning in. I wish everyone all the best for 2022 and hope to see many of you at the NAB show back here in Las Vegas in April and at the ATSC Next Gen Broadcast Conference that we're taking on the road to Detroit in June. Until then, talk to you soon.